Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers are advised that the following program contains images and voices of people who have died.
On the 19th of February 1965, these kids went for a swim in their local pool. And while it might not seem like a big deal, at the time it was. This was an act of defiance which changed the way Australia and the world saw the treatment of Aboriginal people. And this was the man behind it, Dr. Charles Perkins. He was born in Alice Springs in 1936. His grandmother on his mum's side was an Arrernte woman. His grandma on his dad's side, a Kalkadoon woman. He was a gifted soccer player and played professionally for the English club Everton. He was also one of the first Aboriginal people to be accepted at a university. And it was during his time at Sydney Uni that Charles became famous as a mover and shaker in the world of Aboriginal rights. You see, at the time, Aboriginal people didn't have the same rights as other Australians. In fact, they weren't counted as Australian citizens in their own country. Charlie wanted to find a way to draw people's attention to racism in Australia. And he found inspiration from the USA.
Coloured youngsters arrived under safe conduct by the Guard.
During the 1960s, black Americans were fighting to change racist laws, which denied them the same opportunities as white Americans and kept them separate in schools, bathrooms, restaurants, theatres and on buses. The Freedom Riders were civil rights activists who travelled in buses around the southern states to challenge segregation laws. Charlie, with the help of some fellow students, decided to organise their own freedom rides. At midnight on the 12th of February 1965, a big group of university students joined Charlie on a bus trip across New South Wales. They wanted to see how Aboriginal people were being treated and to call attention to any segregation or discrimination they saw. And they saw a lot, which brings us back to those kids in the pool. It was in a small town called Moree in northern New South Wales that the local council had banned Aboriginal people from swimming in the pool. Charlie and his group stood at the gate and refused to let anyone else in until they were let in too. There were similar scenes in other towns. These images got a lot of attention in the Australian media, and attitudes began to change. In 1967, Australians voted to change the constitution to include Aboriginal people in the census. In towns like Moree, racist laws were lifted.
In the times that I've been back there, that there has been a change of attitude, and it's a better relationship. It's not perfect, but it's much better.
Charles spent the rest of his life fighting for the rights of Aboriginal people as a policymaker and a leader. It's been 20 years since Charlie Perkins died, and last week, Sydney Uni celebrated his legacy with the Charlie Perkins Oration, where awards were given to the next generation of Indigenous leaders. As the fight for Indigenous rights continues, Charlie's message to Australians is as important today as ever.
What we've got to do in this country is bring ourselves together, whites and blacks, live in a harmonious situation, lessen the conflicts, learn to understand each other and cooperate with each other. And that's got to be our future.